Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be providing a longer term market update for Vechain. We'll talk about how this is still consolidating within this longer term range, the retest of the range lows and the support right around 2 cents. And then we'll also take a look here at the Vechain Bitcoin ratio and discuss how this is actually broken down from its key range and how this is impacting Vechain and what we can expect with this altcoin into, say, the next few months. If you guys enjoyed the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. So with Vechain, we have been consolidating within this range ever since entering it back here in May of 2022. If I zoom in here, you can see we've basically just been oscillating from the range highs down to the range lows and repeating that process. We did have a breakdown right here in November and December, but that was ultimately a fake out. This level didn't flip back into resistance, and we were able to reclaim the range, go back up to the highs, and then we're right back down here retesting the lows once again at around 2 cents. So generally we want to see this continue to hold as support. So what that means for Vechain is we want to see these weekly closes hold above 2 cents, because as long as we can do that, we can still have the argument that this is a longer term accumulation pattern and a bottoming pattern, and we could eventually see a breakout to the upside, reversing the downtrend in the bear market. If not, if Vechain is coming back down here and breaking below it once again, below 2 cents, then we really start to have a threat to this accumulation pattern, because typically you don't see two fake out patterns in a row. So what would that mean is that most likely we would have at that point a confirmed breakdown, and then we could see a retest of the lows again around 1.5 cents from back in December, and then potentially from there a lower low. So that's not what we want to see, and that's not certainly something that we have to worry about just yet, because we're still holding the support and still holding the range lows. But just be aware of that as the risk and the downside possibility. Again, if we're no longer holding the support, then it starts to look like we have a retest of lows at 1.5 cents, and then we have to see if that level holds as support. So in terms of the upside targets, when I zoom out here, again, we're still in this longer term range, and if this is a bottoming and accumulating pattern, and we do eventually see a breakout above the range highs at 3.2 cents. So for example, on a move that comes back up, reclaims the mid-range, retests the range highs, and then eventually sees a breakout. If we see something like this, then I think we could very quickly target some of these upside levels from back in the bull run. A key level speaking out to me on this chart is the high that we had in February of 2021. We had a very significant correction following that, about 30% down lower. So we could look to that at 5.5 cents as a key level. You can see that flipped into support on the retest in July, a key consolidation point from back here just before the final breakdown. So that is generally the main upside target that we can look to. It's much further out from here, but if we do see a breakout above the range highs much further down the line, then I do think that is a realistic and reasonable upside target. But again, only if we can break out from this consolidation, which at the moment we're nowhere close. We're still hovering down here at the range lows. So that is still far away from here. The much more interesting chart here is the Vechain Bitcoin ratio. In the last video, we discussed this key range with the support right around 94 Satoshis and then the resistance right around 136 Satoshis. Very similar to the Vechain USD pair, this was just oscillating from resistance down to support and just repeating that process for months and months and months. And then we did see that breakdown right here in the middle of March, where we had the break below 94 Satoshis. We made a lower low, and ever since then we have been continuing to trend down, really just confirming that we're still in this bear market on the Vechain Bitcoin ratio. Now what this is telling us is really that Vechain is just underperforming Bitcoin. Bitcoin is doing far better in this environment, and as you can see, Bitcoin has again broken out. It's made higher highs, it's up at these valuations not seen since May of 2022. But Vechain again is still at the range lows. The prices from back in May of 2022 were all the way up around 3.3 cents. So you do see a lot of that underperformance on this weekly chart, where Bitcoin has broken out, it's made a higher high and it's trending up. And then Vechain really isn't doing too much. You could say this is consolidating, maybe a slow bleed, but ultimately that has drawn that Bitcoin ratio down lower, and we're reaching this valuation right around 70 Satoshis. So just continuation of the downtrend. What we want to see for Vechain to be bullish, and for what I want to see to actually be interested in Vechain, is for the Vechain Bitcoin ratio to reverse this downtrend and go into a period of outperformance, where we do see Vechain just moving up much quicker than Bitcoin and just having a lot better strength. And we saw that back here in the bull run in January 2021, where we had a reversal to this bear market. You can see how it basically had a very sharp downtrend for several months, and then we started to make higher highs and higher lows, and then we really just had this big bullish run all the way up to the peak right around 440 Satoshis. So that corresponded to this big bull run, and that's just what I want to see for Vechain. As long as it's underperforming Bitcoin, I would much rather have my capital just allocated to Bitcoin itself, because it's just less risky and you can have a little bit more confidence that it's going to stick around from cycle to cycle. So what a reversal to this downtrend would look like, first of all, would be at the very least reclaiming this range. So that would mean Vechain is starting to make its way back up higher and then reclaiming this level at 94 Satoshis, which was the previous support from back here in May of 2022 as well as June, and then the bounce from January of this year. If something like this can happen, that would print a longer term fake out, a deviation below the range, very similar to the Vechain Bitcoin or the Vechain USD pair, where we had the failed attempt to break down lower and then we reclaimed it and then it entered back within the range. If something like this can happen, then I can start to look at this as a longer term bottoming pattern, where maybe from there we start to have a little bit more momentum, and then potentially from there later down the line we could break out above the range. So that's how we could start to reverse this trend. Until then, you really just have to go with the momentum, which has been to the downside ever since April of 2021. So very long period of time to be trending down, about 750 days so far. So I really wouldn't try to go against this trend until we see convincing evidence that we're in a new uptrend. Convincing evidence has in the past looked like just higher highs and higher lows. Again, you can see from back here in 2020, we had a higher high, breaking out above some resistance, having a higher low, and same thing right here in 2021, where we started to reverse the downtrend, have higher highs, higher lows, and then just proceeded to go on this incredible run. So I hope you guys enjoy the content and the analysis. As always, I'll see you in the next one.